Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town's preview show ahead of today's game against Luton Town. We're going to throw to a different kind of show this week, and to help us kind of reminisce and take a throwback mainly to the kind of 2004-2005 era, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by former Huddersfield Town players Andy Booth, Phil Senior and Junior Mendes. How are you all? Are you okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Excellent. Phil, I thought we'd start on the right foot. And I've heard whispers around the club that you have a particular story that involves Junior and a set of keys.
I think Junior should tell it, to be honest.
I was. It was really bizarre, really. I was walking over the bridge from the stadium to the car park, and young Clark, wasn't it? Was it Tom? Yeah, and he walked past me. I just had the keys in my hand, and he just bounced his shoulder and he just hit the keys, and they just went through. It literally went through the two like the wooden slats right into the river. I was like, oh my God, and it was a Friday as well. It was like I wanted to go home and I was just ready to kind of chill, and yeah, no, I couldn't do that. And I was living through, and I think I was staying through in Mansfield at the time as well, and so I had to get the AA, and the AA took the car on the back of all the way back to Mansfield. It was absolutely mine.
We just literally had no idea, like with footballers, that was so, like, we get well looked after. Oh, we did. We don't anymore. And we had no idea what to do, did we? We literally just stood and kind of looked and thought, right, who's going in? But there was no chance of finding it. Yeah, it weren't the best day, was it?
Weren't the best day, yeah. And poor Tom as well. He felt really bad as well, and we was trying everything to try and fish him out. And I think about an hour later, I was like, no, listen. Then we just kind of conceded defeat, and we were just like, all right, that was it. Do you know what I mean? Get the AA.
Boothie talking about Clarks. Can you remember the day that Nathan? I'm sure you were at the club when Nathan broke into the first team. It weren't necessarily the game, but in that first time, and it was when Ripped Jeans first came out. And he came in some ripped jeans, and one of the lads, I can't remember who it was, probably Kenny Hines, I think, took him to Jeans and told Jean that Nathan had fallen over on the way into the club. And Jean saw his jeans up.
Stitched them all up, didn't she? She did all of it and put them up. That's it. I didn't know about Junior. I didn't know about that keys.
Did you not know?
First time I'd heard about that.
No, you was owned by them. We used to always stay about near the end and just kind of mess about a little bit.
Well, you wouldn't have been doing weights, would it? You wouldn't. Phil would have been on.
We do it now. The older that we've got, we appreciate our body a little bit more, don't we? So
we try to try.
Yeah, good times.
You always the first one out then, Boothie?
Well, to be fair, when these lads were training, I didn't really train. So if it were a Friday, I would have been. I'd have been training then if I was playing on the Saturday. But I didn't train a lot. So
sorry, Boothie, just to cut in there on what you're saying. It was so bizarre to me that Boothie, after training, we used to do shooting. So I had to practice my shooting, right? So we used to do shooting all the time. Boothie never used to join in ever. He used to just sit there and watch us miss and stuff like that. And then he would play on a Saturday and he would score the goals. It was brilliant.
Well, that was, with my knees, I couldn't do it. I couldn't shoot. That time then, for the last 7 or 8 years of my career, I was struggling with my knees that much. If I did shooting afterwards, I wouldn't be able to walk next. The less I did, the better. So I can remember, I did used to get balls out. We'd finish training. You would like to go off, all strikers would go off shooting. And I'd go for my cup of coffee, wouldn't I? So by the time we got off training, I was probably at home by then. So
I think towards the end of his career, his knee and his ankle fused together. So that's why he kept having that curly toe shot. Every time he had a shot, it always curled. Couldn't have a striker straight ball.
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't have minded having that. If I could hold the ball like that, Boothie, no problem. I would have loved to have had a knee and ankle like that.
Hey, you'll do for me, Junior. You'll do for me. What about Accrington Stanley, Phil? What about that when we're live on BBC and your son, Puddy and Gray's got injured? 0-0, we're hanging on. John Worthington's been sent off after about 10 minutes. And they come on, 10 minutes to go. And just tell us about that goal. I can still see it now. 20 30-yarder, lobbed you.
Do I have to actually talk about this? I'll tell you this situation around the fact that we were sat on the bench during the game, and obviously, like when I left town, I went into non-league and seen on non-league football, and there are some excellent non-league footballers there. Let me just add, but this one fella, we were sat on the bench and we were looking at him and we were thinking, where's he come from? He looked massive, like massive belly on him, and we literally just slated him from start of the game to finish. Until I came on, and I remember it were like Hurricane Katrina or something. It was a really windy day, and it set off to one side of the goal and swung the other way. And yeah, it weren't one of my best moments. I still blame Chigga for that, for getting injured. Yeah, cheers for that, Bullet. Thank you.
That's all right. We're only live on BBC, weren't we? Slaughtering us all.
Worse has happened. Worse has happened.
Oh, I'm sure. Some of it, I'm sure, is not broadcastable as well. That 2004-2005 season, though, obviously, we had a terrific run, didn't we, towards the end, Junior? I think it was unbeaten in 8 wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. And we kind of just narrowly missed out, didn't we? And I think, like, because the pressure was off a little bit as well, we just kind of went on a really good run. But we had a good squad, and I always believe that there's a few of us. I didn't really get to play the next season, but I felt, if we did, or a few other players as well, we would have done okay. But no, it was a really good squad, really good group of lads, and we just showed, as I say, in those last 9 games, it was. It was really, really close, and it was such a young squad as well. So I think we've done quite well there. I think we've done really well.
It was just a point.
Just going back, Junior. Sorry, just going back before you came. Remember the Mansfield playoff final?
Yeah.
When obviously 0-0, and it goes to penalties.
Yeah.
And obviously Liam Lawrence steps up. We'd scored our first 2. Liam chips him, hits the crossbar. Were you the only one? You scored your penalty, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I was off because Soji smashed me. He smashed me about 20 minutes beforehand, and then so I went off and wasn't quite pleased. I went off. Maybe I wasn't having a very good game, and he smashed me as well. So it was quite easy to kind of say no, I can't carry on. But no, I didn't get to take one. But when Liam done that, it was just like we absolutely couldn't believe that he'd done that. And I think a few of the players had played well that year, and they kind of knew they was getting moves and stuff like that. And I think it was a case of he's just trying to look good, and listen, I've forgiven him for it. We still speak and stuff like that. But yeah, I couldn't believe it when he done that.
One of my best moments in football, because we were stood at the halfway line. And you think, he's not going to miss. There's no way.
No chance.
He was flying one. He'd had a fantastic season. Scored a lot of goals. You're thinking, he's just going to put this in. And he dinked it. And it was just like slow motion, wasn't it? Hit the cross, thinking, that's game over then. We've won.
Could not believe it. And it's actually, we trained up at Sheffield United's training ground, on the day prior to that. And he done that. He said he was doing penalties, and he said to one of the lads, he's like, "Watch, I'm going to dink it," and he done the exact same thing. He hit the crossbar. So he's gone on match day, and he's done the exact same thing. So crazy.
If you look at some of the footage back there, I noticed after the game, Junior was straight over to Peter Jackson, and he was like, "Yeah. I'll played to have a smile on his face."
No, some. I think Lee Fowler used to say that I used to go over and shake Peter's hand about 20 times after a game because I wanted to get a move there and stuff like that. But no, so I don't know where that come from. And as well, I think there was a few rumours that I already knew that I was going to Huddersfield beforehand, and I can assure it wasn't the case, because I don't think Peter would have wanted me to have done me dirty on my own teammates at the time. So no, that definitely wasn't the case.
I was going to say, Boothie, obviously we ended that year 1 point off the playoffs. Was there a sense of a little bit of disappointment for not reaching it, even though you kind of had that magnificent run and it almost came out of nowhere?
Yeah, because as you say, when the last 10 games, we were probably mid-table, and we just had such a good run. It looked like we were going to do it at one point, and we just obviously just missed out, and it was such a shame because, like Junior said, we had a young side and we had a lot of talented footballers there, and the form we were in leading to the end of the season, if we'd have managed just to sneak into that sixth spot playoffs, then I think we'd have got up straight, because we were so confident and we knew we were just going into games, winning them so easily. So we've got to kick ourselves really, because we left it just too late, and you look back now and it's so disappointing, because you're thinking playoff, that we could have done so much.
What was Jacko like, Phil? Did he have his favourites like around the squad? People he was really pally with? What was he like with the players?
Yeah, I think he were pretty fair with everyone, to be honest. We used to have some right times in terms of, but we can remember when we played, were it Lincoln or were it before the final, when he threw us all into the lift?
Yeah.
And we got stuck in the lift. We went into the lift in the Panasonic stand, and there must have been 20 of us or something. And knowing that would have been over the limit, he just threw us all in anyway. And it actually got stuck, and we had to climb. It opened, didn't it? And we had to climb out through the top. He just did like daft things like that. But he was really good with. He was really good at kind of understanding each of the individuals and knew what to kind of give everybody. So, for instance, John McAliskey, his relationship with him was really good. Quite like a father figure, and got a lot out of him. So it was, in essence, it was brilliant in that way. And I think him and Taff worked really well together. Obviously, Taff was really clued in terms of the tactics and training, etc. And the Gaffer's man management was perfect. And I would assume Boothie had an absolute jolly up, because he knew that was the case. And to be fair, with someone with Boothie's quality, you could have easily made him train and do the extra things that he needed to do, but he didn't. He trusted him, and it worked well, and that went for a number of them as well. I mean, I loved his relationship with Sodje. It was brilliant. He was always on each other's case, and have a bit of banter. But it was great. I mean, Junior, what did you think when you first turned up? Because he'd obviously done a full season with all of us lot. So
yeah, he was brilliant. I think he was brilliant, and. We had our times when we had little fallouts, but I say minor ones. But it's one of those a bit like families, and you do at times. And I think it was absolutely brilliant. And Taff as well, really enjoyed it. And I think he brought the best out of people really. And as you saw, we done all right, didn't we? You guys done all right the season before I came, and then after when I left as well. It was on an upward trajectory, wasn't it? And it was good. As I said, I never really heard anybody say a bad word about Mr. Jackson. He was cool. I liked him. He used to have a laugh. You could have a laugh with him, and then he'd kind of be a bit strange when you see him kind of lose his head at half time, or give somebody the hairdryer a little bit as well. And that was strange, because as I said, he was a cool guy. Good guy.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment I can give him is the fact that obviously he let me go, he released me, but I've still got that kind of friendship with him. When I see him, there's no grudges held, because he was doing things for the best of the club. So whatever happened in between that, where we had the discussions of whether I'd sign another contract, is kind of irrelevant, because he's always had the club at heart. So he was fantastic, really.
Yeah.
You've always been pretty close with him, haven't you, Boothie? I've seen you on match days and laughing and joking, and you still got that relationship.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew Jacko when he played, so I was an apprentice when Jacko came right at the very end of his career, and so I've known him a long time, and he hadn't changed. He was like that as a player, and then took it into management. And like Phil and Junior both said, everybody had a smile on their faces. Everybody enjoyed playing for him, and we had some fun. We had some great times, and like I said, we had success on the pitch. But because going back to when I know his first year, I wasn't there, his first spell, but his second time when he would just come out of administration, everybody knows the story. He had no players, and he built a squad up from next to nothing, not spending anything, but silly love. He built it. Everybody got on with everybody. Everybody loved spending time in the dressing rooms. We all just had such a great time, and we took that onto the pitch, that team spirit, and that's what he is. And you look at him now, always joking, always having a laugh. And you can't, like, he was serious as well. Like Junior says, when he had to be, and when we, as long as we were doing it well, then everything were happy. Everybody were getting on. But if they were a line, and if we crossed that and we weren't performing on the pitch, he definitely told us. And especially when you've got Taff there as well, and when you've got Jacko and Taff going at full blazer, you know. So it really works well as a partnership. But yeah, a great manager, Jacko. He is, and like you just mentioned his name, and all three of us will have a smile on his face because that's the character he is.
Definitely. And just as anybody done any coaching, Phil and Boovy, have you ever tried to replicate Taft's Friday drill? Have you ever tried to replicate it? Because that was like the most impossible thing to replicate, I think. And I still try and get my head around what he used to do. It was absolutely crazy. But we used to get it, didn't we? And we got it. And Luke would come in and be like, don't worry, take about a month to get this one done, but you'll get it.
What was it?
Can you remember it, Boovy? Yeah.
I can't. I probably wasn't there. What a junior.
No, I know. So there'd be like 3 or 4 lines, and then he'd say go left or right, and then the middle line would go to the left, and then the right line would go over. And then, do you remember that?
Oh, we never got it, did we?
Never got it. Oh,
have you tried it, Junior? Have you tried it with your?
No, I've never tried to replicate it. There's no chance. No chance. We need Taff. We need to speak to him and ask him.
Nearly as bad as a lose loop, Boo there. I bet you never did that, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did it once and never did it again. Down at Stores all want it when he had a loop, didn't he?
Well, funnily enough, one of our coaching staff who's now at the club now he was the fittest of the group, and he used to run halfway down Stores Hall Lane, cut through the campus while all those idiots are running, towing his backside off, and then he'd meet us and then finish ahead of us all. And
is that what he used to do, did he? Okay.
Yeah. Live and learn, eh?
Yeah.
Earlier in that season, Junior, obviously, that's relevant to this game is our win away at Luton. We haven't played Luton a lot, which is why this win particularly sticks in the minds of supporters. And of course, you got a brace.
Yeah. The second one actually was maybe a little bit iffy. It kind of just grazed past me. It might not touch me. Might have. I don't know. And I'd always remember. And after the game, I was like, that wasn't your goal. It wasn't your goal. And I was adamant it was my goal. So I'm still taking it. But the first one, there was no doubt about the first one. As I said, I used to do that a lot in shooting practice when Boovy was. And so the first one, I'll take that one definitely. But it was funny. We went there, and there was kind of I think they were top of the league at the time. They were flying high, and they were playing really well, and they were the best team in the league, I think, at the time, or on form anyway. And then we went there and we kind of turned them over. It was good, really good.
Yeah, so
tough place to go. It's always been a tough place to go. That the grounds, obviously, it's really enclosed, and the support. They squeeze a few supporters in there. I think they always used to be around 7,000, etc. And the pitch was really heavy. I remember, so it was always quite a difficult place to play. I played a couple of seasons before that, and I think we lost 3-1. Thorpe scored a couple of goals, and it's always been a tough place to go. So yeah, a good, nice little double that, Junior.
Yeah, it was all right. It was happy, but as I said, I think that just showed the kind of the level where we were at as well. We were one of these teams, and I suppose because we were a younger side, or the majority of the side were young. Possibly we wasn't as consistent as we could have been. But we went to a team that was top of the league, I think, and as I say, we turned them over and it was pretty comfortable. I think near the end we were kind of maybe hanging on a little bit, but that happens. That's going to happen, when you're away at Luton, and it's a really, really good atmosphere up at Kenilworth Lane, isn't it? And as I said, it was a really good result for us.
I think you're being a bit modest there, Julie. What I remember, your first goal, it was a cracker, wasn't it? Like I know you said you tried. Would it want it the bender? Outside box, wasn't it? Really good goal that.
Yeah.
And I think
that was your kind of shot, wasn't it? Little whip, that little push to keepers left all the time.
Yeah. That was kind of, as I said, that's the one I used to practice a lot in training, and I should have maybe practiced my 6-yard tap-ins, which I used to miss a lot.
And now, Junior, you're a fitness coach at St Mirren.
Yeah.
Is that always something that you wanted to kind of go into after you finished playing?
It wasn't, no. When I was coming to the end of my career, I wasn't too sure what I was going to do. And then I actually I enrolled on a course to be a solicitor. And then it was literally about 2 weeks later, I saw an ad to be a personal trainer, and it kind of made me think, oh, you know what, maybe the fitness route would be good. And then, so I quickly enrolled onto, I quickly enrolled into a sports science course, and that was it then. And then I've done my personal training course at the same time. And Phil, you've done a personal training course as well, didn't you? Have you done personal?
Yeah, when I first, obviously, when I went non-league, I decided to kind of pack it in early and do my teacher training, but I worked in the gym as well and went through all that kind of palaver. So I think for the sportsman going into that kind of work, it is really good because you can mix the understanding of what you've got from playing with the science, and I think that's quite valuable. I'm not taking anything away from anybody who hasn't actually played the game, but you get a real good insight, and I think it does help you. I mean, Boothie knows, obviously, Chris Senior works at Sheffield United and he works at Arsenal. Yeah. And I think it just it helps towards that kind of environment. We've mentioned it earlier, you know, the understanding of that changing room environment is key within the kind of sport of football, and well, any professional sport really. And I think obviously Junior, it'll work out quite well for you because your banter's half decent.
No, I've got terrible banter. My banter,
you've got a little bit of understanding about football, so it should help.
My banter is rubbish, and I try every day. I try so much, and maybe I try too hard. But Boothie, when you was at Sheffield Wednesday, and did you? Because when we was at Huddersfield, and you know, in my kind of time, I wasn't really at the big clubs where we didn't really have that. We didn't really have any sports scientists. But did you have that when you was at Sheffield Wednesday and any clubs like that?
Yeah, it was just coming in. When I went to Sheffield Wednesday, what were I then? About 22, 23. And obviously at Huddersfield, we never had anything. And then I went to Wednesday, a big club, played in the Premier League. And they had one master, so we had a master. And then a young boy came in. I think poor lad, looking back now, he'd come in from university. So what will he be, 1920? Yeah. And he was a dietitian. So we didn't have the sports science, but he came in as nutritionist and tried to, I was just telling Philly, he tried to sort my diet out. Looking back, I probably had one of the worst diets that footballers could have, and it made me write down 2 weeks what I ate, and he looked at it.
Yeah.
He just laughed. He said, "You're eating, drinking, the wrong thing." But looking, I'd been playing for like 5 or 6 years, so I thought I knew more than him. And I said, somebody from university, what does he know like? So I fobbed him off a little bit and didn't listen to him. Yeah. But now, later on in your career, you're thinking, why didn't I listen to it? Because we know how important nutrition is. So, no, what I'd say back then, Wednesday, they just started. And then probably I was there 5 years. We did start having sports scientists, and that started coming slowly. And I think that was more like when you likes of Arsene Wenger, saying that Sam Allardyce were very
massive on it, wasn't he?
One is everybody's old school, but he brought a scientific methods in. So so it would just getting going when I went to Wednesday. So before then, I don't think they'd have much either.
No. We used to train. Me and one of the other keepers used to train at Bolton while we were at Huddersfield, and we went over and it was amazing. They had all like this holistic kind of like these ladies who were doing the acupuncture and things, and they had all like the up-to-date kind of science and technology, and then you go back to Huddersfield and we were changing in porta cabins and as YT's holding Boothie's boots up to heater just to make sure they're warm. So time has changed, hasn't it? You know, I think majority of clubs now, even non-league clubs, buy into this sports science. So it's the game of football has totally changed.
What's it like in Scotland, Junior? Is it advanced up there, or is it behind?
Yeah, no, it has. In the Premier League up here, you know, all the clubs all the clubs have it. The Championship, most of the clubs have it, and even down in League One, League Two, some of the clubs have it as well. So they're well up to speed with it, and they realise it's an important thing to have as well. And you know what happens with players, they talk as well, and so if they're going to pick between two clubs and one club hasn't got sports scientists or GPS vests, and they haven't got food or lunch on, then they'll go to the club that has. So it's good in that way. One of the things that kind of just makes me a little bit sad is that when I never played, and say Phil as well, we never really had it, and I really wish I did have that at my disposal, because that definitely would have helped. Really would have helped. But again, it's known as well when to kind of back off and ease off as well. So I'll put things in place for the players, but sometimes you just need to back off as well, because sometimes they just need to get some clear headspace as well, and you're not breathing down their neck all the time.
Phil, when we mentioned that Junior was a fitness coach, you had a little smile on your face. Is this because of your trips to Marston's together, or something else that we don't know?
No, it just surprised me. I mean, bloody strikers, they don't want to work hard anyway, do they? You know what I mean? So when it comes to running practice, they're just as lazy as goalkeepers. So yeah, I have no idea really. I don't know why I said it. His physique was about as skinny as mine, so he weren't exactly massive. So no, I'm pleased for him really, because like I say, it's I've been in that position, and when you've got a choice to make in terms of what you want to do in that next step, it needs to be something that you enjoy. And when he mentioned solicitor or a personal trainer, it was like there's such a big difference, and you can go in, for as much not stick, but people talk about footballers and having this amazing life, but when you finish, that life's different. It's totally different, and that's just as hard as obviously starting from the start. So I'm pleased that you've gone on to something that you enjoy. You can clearly see you enjoy it, because you absolutely pepper social media with your deadlifts and squats and stuff like that, which is good to see. So it's no shock that he's doing well in something, because his mindset was always like that. So no, I'm pleased for you.
Adam, you could turn that round completely on Phil. If in that squad, Junior, that we had, if you said one person be a teacher, the last person you would mention and ever be a teacher, would you just Phil teaching your kids? That's what I was asking.
Right? This made me laugh. I first started teaching at Shelley College. Obviously, it's a little bit different to what I would like in the changing rooms. And we'd won the league, and Boothie brought the trophy in for everyone to see. And he rocks into school and he shouts, "Can't believe they're trusting you and your kids in the middle of the school." I'm like, we're not in changing rooms now, Boothie. To be fair.
You're the last person I'd have ever thought I'd become a teacher. Fair play to you, Phil. And I've been up there a few times on it, Shelley, and you do a fantastic job. But we all know, we all change and we all grow up. But for you to be a teacher, if my son or daughter had come home, I've got Mr. Senior in for PE.
So obviously I was quite close to Phil in the squad when we were there, and the one thing I will say is, because he's got a great infectious personality, right? So that's how I know he's a good teacher. He's a successful what he's doing, because as I say, he's got such a great personality, and we've got on so well, and from that way, like, all joking aside, like, definitely I can see that the kids would absolutely just buzz off of him. Like, I could totally see it.
It's one of the biggest, that's the biggest thing for me. I don't know why other teachers go into the business, but for me, it's just that kind of, I think it's basically from the coaching side, but just wanting to help people, and it's I don't know, it kind of suits. So, but yeah, cheers, Boo. I hope my kids are watching this to be like, he's right, he's right.
Junior, obviously, you work under Jim Goodwin, Mirren's manager, former Huddersfield Town player as well. What's he like, and how's he been getting on?
No, Jim's brilliant. He's really good to work with. Just on a personal level as well, he's really, really good to work with, and he's getting success as well up here at the moment as well. And so he was at Alloa before. He was manager at Alloa before St Mirren, and he done really well with them on a really small budget. He kept them in the Championship. And he was taking scouts for bigger teams in the Championship, and then he got the role at St Mirren maybe about 18 months ago now, and he's starting to slowly build his squad, and the squad he's assembled right now it's looking all right, I tell you. And as I say, we've had a good couple of results against the big two just recently. And as I say, we as support staff, we do our bit, but the manager is the main man, and they pick the team, they get the players in, and he's definitely done his bit. It's a good squad.
Yeah, you played with him, didn't you, Boothby?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and if anybody, like we've got about Phil, if anybody were going to be a manager, you said Jim would definitely be. It was like he always studied the game, and he when he played, he was a good player, but he would just had that little bit different, not personality, but it was more intense. It was more like he studied the game. He was a philosopher of the game, and he understood it so well. Like there were times where we'd be in the dressing rooms, and he'd be talking. We've got to do this, and even talking to the managers about it. And I'm sat there thinking, he's absolutely spot on there. And Jim would only, when he came, he wasn't that old, and you could just see like this lad's going to be. He's going to have a good future in football, and you just knew he was managerial material. It's great to see he's gone to Scotland and he's doing well, because he's good footballer, nice lad, and you always want the nice people to do well. But you just knew we were going to be a good manager, and you never know, we might see him down in England. One of these, I'm sure a few English clubs will be looking at him if he comes available.
Definitely, he's very good. As I say, he's very diligent as well in what he does, and he's working on a small budget, and he's definitely doing well on that small budget.
He was a good pro as well. He really was a good pro. His fitness, he looked after himself. We have a laugh at the job, but he did really.
Definitely.
What he ate, and looked always in the gym before and afterwards, after training, doing that extra more, and he did. You could just tell it was just a little, it was a different pro to me, us three, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're working with Colin Quanner as well. How's he been getting on? I'm sure Town fans are watching this will certainly be interested. He was a bit of a favourite here.
Yeah. Well, his debut, he came on and he came off 10 minutes later. He got an injury, so it was very short lived. And we came up against a player who was a bit of a seasoned pro, a St Johnstone player, and it was a bit of a kind of welcome to the league tackle. I tried to kind of reassure him that not all of the players are like that up in Scotland. So yeah, it was short lived. He's really close now. He's on the road to recovery, and he's really close to being back now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer the team.
Yeah, a really good, smiley guy, and obviously he took Boothie's number as well.
He did.
The legend is Colin. What a player.
Yeah. It's their fans' favourite. Fans loved him, and he did a job for us. When he came on, he was always a handful. And you look at the playoff semi-final at Sheffield Wednesday, he changed the game when he came on. So the fans love Colin, and he'll do well up there, I'm sure. Getting fit and running games, he really do well. And again, he always had a smile on his face, and he's an honest pro. So he'll be perfect up there. I think he'll do well.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. He is a really nice lad, and just as you said as well, coming every day, and he's really upbeat, and he's really easy to speak to, and that's with him just getting an injury as well, So if he's being nice and he's being upbeat now, be even better when he's playing and he's scoring some goals for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to today's game now, Phil. Luton Town away. What do you expect from this one? Because we have had a difficult start to 2021. Put in some good attacking performances of late, just lack that cutting edge. But this game, what do you expect to see from Town?
I think it's going to be another tough game. Obviously, they've all seemed to prove to challengers, but I think the way that we're playing is positive. I think the movement through the thirds is really good. There's been flashes of genius from certain players. I think O'Brien seems to be kicking on a little bit more now. I think his confidence seems to be back in. I just think, obviously, the question is where the goal's going to come from. And I think we've seen it in the past. Once we do score first and maybe get that little bit of an extra advantage of 2 goals, we seem to be a lot more confident and kind of see the games out. But I can't really call it at the moment. I think it's just, the times at the moment where we should be, finishing games off and getting the 3 points. We're not, and it's just a little bit frustrating. I think I mentioned Keogh's a good signing. I think he seems to have a bit of a sensible head at the back and quite a calming influence. And Vallejo looked to kind of find his feet in the last game. I think that's how you pronounce it. To find his feet in the last game. So away games aren't away games anymore, are they? It's the new home game. So I don't think, looking into where the game's been played will really have an effect. But I just think it'd be interesting to see who starts up front. I wonder if he might give Fraser a rest and give Phillips a chance. So we'll see tomorrow.
What do you think, Boothie? Do you think it's just a little bit more luck in front of goal that we need? Because like Phil said, the performances on the main have been good. We've been creating chances. I mean, if you think back to Bristol City, we hit the woodwork 4 times, and we hit the woodwork against Stoke as well, and had a few penalty appeals that were turned down. Do you think it is just that luck that we're missing?
Yeah, it is. Like Phil said, we've been playing some good stuff. It's been positive this year without getting the results. And we go back to last season. It's more entertaining. It's enjoyable to watch, and it's just a little bit. Yeah, we're making mistakes we're at the back, and we're getting punished with them at the minute. But we're still creating chances. Yeah, there's a problem with scoring goals, but we've had that for 2 or 3 years. So we've just got to be positive. We've just got to keep on doing what we're doing, and I think results will change. It's difficult. We've got a young side. The lads are coming in through now. And it's positive. They're only going to get better and better each week they play. So I don't know if Oggie's back. Is Oggie back tomorrow? He makes a big difference in that midfield. Does Oggie? So if we get Oggie back, then stability in there, and another leader, an experienced voice that we need on that pitch.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Junior, in a dressing room, what's that like in terms of Huddersfield Town at the minute? So we've got obviously 10 or so players that are out injured, a lot of young lads that are coming in. When you're in a dressing room setting, how much can that unbalance things, and how hard then is it to then replicate what you have been doing on the pitch?
It's not easy, and when young lads come in, sometimes we can kind of go 2 ways with the young lads. People say that they have that kind of youthful kind of exuberance, and they don't. They just go out and play without the shackles on. But I think that sometimes as well, as I say, you get that inconsistency as well. So it's just a case of you put them out there and you just kind of wish for the best, really. And I've not been looking at the lineups too closely, just in recent games. But so that's something that Phil or Andy would be able to kind of talk a little bit better on. But when it comes to when the youngsters come in, as I say, it can either go 2 ways, and a lot of the time they kind of look for older heads as well for help. And if they're not around, then it's difficult. But as I say, when I was playing and I'm playing alongside Andy, it makes it a lot easier.
I think it's that reassurance, isn't it? I think in situations like that, it is from your older pros to make sure that you're happy in your performance, even if you have a bad game, and especially management as well. I think obviously there's a lot of coaches in behind now that understand the club and have a good understanding of the game. And I think, like Boovy's mentioned there seems to be whisperings of some good talent at the moment coming through. And I think, I've mentioned it for a while now that it's a good time for them to bled through. And going back to what happened when Jacko came, there was a number of young players who were playing at the time, and it just showed that the youth and the experience kind of blended well. So, as Booby's mentioned there, Hoggy, he has been a bit of a miss, and maybe that might, just give us that little bit of stability in the middle.
There's no doubt about it, Booby, that this run will be hurting someone like Carlos, who's used to winning games, who wants to win games and lives and breathes football.
Yeah, obviously everybody wants to win, and Carlos. He's still. You've got to remember, Carlos is still new at the job as well. It's his first year as a head coach, as a manager, and he'll be learning all the time. And this is a difficult time for him when you've had a run of games when you've not won. This is where you sometimes need your manager to step up. But he will be finding it difficult, and he'll be looking for answers. And sometimes, like we've all said here, this is where your senior pros need to step up. Like Richard Keogh, obviously a good sign, and that's what we need. Is a good talker is Richard. So you've got Richard, Naby, you've got Oggy hopefully there, and then Fraser. So you've got your spine, all senior pros there. So they're back, and I'm sure Carlos will be hoping they'll help everybody else out tomorrow. And yeah, it will be hurting Carlos, but I'm sure. Well, I know for the fact, talking to the lads behind the scenes, it works every hour God sends anyway. So I'm sure he'll be working even harder to change this. And sometimes just a little bit of luck, like Junior says, when we're down at Luton before, when he got his second goal, that just a whisper off his foot, something like that. Tomorrow you go like that, you get a 1-0, and then you can kickstart your season again. So that's all it takes. We're not far away. We're few mistakes at defence, being punished, not scoring goals. But tomorrow you sneak a 1-0 and it can kickstart your season. And that's something like we did when we played and went on a run of 10, 11 games unbeaten towards the end of the season. And then it ends up being a great season. But I think now we're looking forward rather than back, which over the last couple of years, that's what we have been doing.
Funny time in Italy, because I remember the first season I started playing. Fans remember this differently, and I might remember it differently. But we obviously went down that year with Mick Wadsworth. But I can't remember us ever getting battered by any teams. I always remember us playing some decent football and just kind of losing by a goal here and there. And some seasons work out like that. Some periods of the season it happens, and we had a really experienced team then with very little youth in it. So it is a difficult time, and I think even more so now for the experience to kind of help out and help these young kids who are playing at the moment.
We spoke a lot on these shows about relationships on the pitch and Carlos's system. When you are going man to man all over the pitch, Phil, I suppose having those relationships is really key. And to be fair, I think in terms of performance, we've seen developments again on those relationships being built. For example, Rolando Aarons and Harry Toffolo down the left-hand side. I mean, those two, you can see that they're starting to know where each other are going to be now, because Rolando is a very different player to Josh Koroma, who was there obviously at the start of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's that consistency as well, isn't it? If Junior's playing up front of Boo there, you know that if a ball's coming up, it's going to be flicked on in a certain direction, and you have that understanding. So it's the same all the way around the pitch. And like I say, Boo hit the nail on the head in terms of Keogh. It's really important that you have communicators on the pitch, and that should be all the way through. I mean, Lewis O'Brien, he makes the runs kind of in between the wide players and the striker to kind of create the space in the middle. These little things there where they're starting now to kind of see that. Koroma had a great understanding with Toffolo and it was working so well, and then obviously that's gone now, so you need to build it again. But what I do find impressive with this management is that it's all the way through the club, so everybody understands their role. So when they come in, the young lads, maybe if they're not outstanding, the positional sense and their understanding of that team kind of outcome is there. So you can see it building. I think Toffolo and Pippa have been quiet recently, and whether that's something in terms of what the manager wants, in terms of not bombing on as much as what they have done at the start of the season, I'm not sure. But we've started to see it a little bit more now, and it makes me laugh when you see Toffolo in the area and everything just lands to him. And you want it to land. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good finisher, but you want it to land to one of your strikers or someone who can find the net with ease. And it always seems to land to him. So fair play, because last season that was one of the biggest things when the Cowers were here. If you looked in the box from a wide area, there was one person in the box. Now we're seeing 2, 3, 4 people trying to get into areas that can affect. So yeah, it's been enjoyable to watch this year, but also frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully it's enjoyable to watch at Kenilworth Road. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. That was thoroughly enjoyable. Town fans, if you're watching, you can purchase a match pass to watch us against Luton for £10 on iFollow HTAFC. Thank you for watching.